And I want to explain a bit behind the psychology, if that's okay, why webinars work. Just briefly, this book by Robert Caldini. Anyone has heard of this book or this person, Robert Caldini? Can you type in yes? Okay, so Robert Caldini is actually, I think he's a university lecturer, and he does a lot of research into human psychology in relation to persuasion, why people are persuaded and what makes them get persuaded to do certain things. So if you're in sales or marketing, this is a highly recommended book, right? So yeah, here are 6 things why people get influenced by Robert Cialdini, right? First thing is reciprocity. Now, reciprocity is when it's basically I scratch my back, you scratch my back, right? So like, me and my neighbor here, because of the lockdown, he says he can't get beer. So I've been giving him some beer, and, he's been giving me some sushi because he's from Korea. So we've been exchanging all these things like continuously over the past few weeks. Beer in return for sushi, which is kind of cool. Yeah, so that is reciprocity. When you do a webinar, what happens? What happens is there's a transference of value from you to the listener, to the attendees. That is what happens, right? And when attendees get value from it, what do you want to do? You normally would want to help me back, right? In some way, because we are conditioned as humans to do that. So that is the first thing that webinars can do, is the reciprocity thing. The second thing is authority. Now, think back to when we were kids. What happened? We had teachers in front of the classroom. We were conditioned that the person in front of the class, i.e. the teacher, is a person of authority. And so we naturally, when it comes to webinars, you are that person that's up there teaching, right? And sharing. And what happens is you now have the authority. Okay, so that helps you to become more persuasive. Likability. Can you develop likability in a webinar? Absolutely, right? Now, if I were a complete douchebag and, and all that kind of stuff, and I was talking about my Lamborghinis and my cars and my travels and all that stuff, you probably won't like me very much, right? But when I showed you my stuff, I was showing you, my downs, my really bad situations. I was showing you my ups as well. And I was showing you my goofy side as well, and my family. So you can build likability as well with your webinars, okay? So that's how you do it, right? And the fourth thing is the consistency. Consistency is like, if you do something regularly enough and consistent enough, people will come to recognize you as someone that's reliable. So if you're teaching a particular topic enough times, like Russell Brunson, he did it for a year teaching funnels, right? People came to recognize him as someone that's reliable in terms of creating funnels, right? And consensus. Consensus is social proof. So when you have a webinar and you have like dozens of people attending your webinar, and you can show social proof of the results that you have gotten before, and if you don't have results, that's totally fine too. But if you can show that happy customers, for example, right? All this will help you to get social proof, which is consensus in this case. So you can demonstrate consensus through your webinar. And finally, scarcity. And that scarcity is about, if you got 4 people in the room and there's 1 apple, you all want to snatch it, right? Or, a can of beer, everybody wants to get it first, right? And you can create scarcity with webinars too, correct? So for example, if you have a limited number of products, you can create that scarcity and say, look, we only have 17 of these products left, or 17 of these packages left. So go ahead and do it. So limited quantity can be limited time as well. So this is only valid for the next 24 hours. That works too, okay? So this is why webinar works so well in terms of persuading people to take action, all right? So does this make sense to everyone, or was that like a little bit too deep? I just want to go into the psychology a bit and, just to prove from an academic psychological point of view why webinars are so effective. Was that okay? Did everyone